Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Cloverland Botanicals. John is getting some hot water ready for the tea that we're about to make. But let's talk a little bit about these blends further and how you craft really your blends for your clients. What does that look like?
Sure.
Take me through the process.
Yeah, so I take a lot more time with my clients than doctors really can take with their patients. I mean, doctors are, kind of constrained by insurance and kind of rules around how much time they can take with their patients. And I don't have that constraint. So I usually sit down for like 1 to 2 hours with my clients, and we talk through whatever health concern or health concerns they're wanting to work with. And we kind of put together the big picture puzzle on what's going on and kind of where the root causes are. What can we do to kind of support those root causes? So it can look like a lot of different things depending on what's going on. But the main through line is that I take a lot of time.
That makes sense. So it starts with a conversation, really, like
conversation,
what you guys want to see out of the treatment.
And what their goals are. It's always going to be client driven. What are their goals? What do they want to accomplish? And especially if they are also on any sort of medications, one of my big considerations is making sure that we're not using herbs that interact with those medications in any sort of negative way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so then how do you go into your apothecary and find the herbs that you're really looking to make that happen? Because I find that part interesting. You know what I mean?
Well, so, oh gosh, that's a big question. So the short answer is that herbalists often use these words we call action words. So, for like stress and anxiety, for example, we kind of have 2 herbal actions that we would consider, and they would be nervine, so those are kind of herbs that work kind of immediately to help calm us down, and adaptogen, which helps to kind of increase our long-term resilience to stress. So over time, as we take them, it increases our resilience. So I'm going to think about if someone comes to me for anxiety, for example, or insomnia because they're anxious, I'm going to think about nervines and I'm going to think about adaptogens. And that really narrows my list down quite a lot. And then from there, it's a little bit of art, a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of trial and error. And I do rely both on kind of the science that we have on these herbs, which sometimes is substantial and sometimes is pretty sparse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also the kind of traditional uses of these herbs, which usually is very long, but sometimes not well recorded either.
Sure,
so
that makes sense.
there's kind of a little bit of a mix of both.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I'm going to put together a formula. All herbs have kind of different doses. So for example, the little anxiety sleep tea that I put together this morning from these 3 herbs, it's 2 parts Tulsi, 2 parts linden, and 1 part lavender. And the reason for that is that lavender is really strong. And so if you put too much of it in a formula, not only does it kind of like overwhelmingly lavender flavoring, a little bit too much, but it's just unnecessary as well. Whereas linden and Tulsi are both a little bit gentler in their action and also gentler in their flavor, and so you want them in kind of larger portion in the formula. So this formula here is 2 parts Tulsi, 2 parts linden, and 1 part lavender. Nice little anxiety or sleep blend, depending on who it is who's taking it. What are they trying to accomplish? So yeah, the tea blends that I make are going to be loose leaf like this, and so making tea with loose leaf tea is a little bit different than making it with a bag. It's certainly easier with a bag. But the dose you can get in the tea bag is really small compared to what you can do with loose leaf. So some of my favorite tools for easily making loose leaf tea at home, this is actually probably my favorite. This is the teapot that I use multiple times a week. And you can see it has a big basket strainer inside of the teapot. Here, I'll pull that out.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know it came out.
And so this allows the herbs to really open up and infuse really nicely. So as opposed to something like a tea ball that keeps them really crunched down. So I want something like this, a big basket strainer. I also really love this basket strainer. This one just goes right in your cup. So that might actually be what we use here. Thank you for this hot water, John. So what we can do is we just take our herbs, we put them in the basket strainer, and then we can just stick that right in our cup. And as you can see, there's plenty of room for them kind of to open up and infuse. I'm going to use this straw to stir it around a little bit. Then I'll talk about what this straw is like. So it has lots of room for it to kind of open up and infuse, and that just helps a little bit with it to kind kind of adequately get into the water. The other important thing is to always put a lid on your tea. So I'm going to use this jar lid as a makeshift one. But
Oh,
we're
it
always
smells so good.
It smells so good. I know.
Oh, wow, this is working already.
We're going to have this nice big cup of tea afterwards. Maybe we can taste it in the break.
Yeah.
So you always want to put a lid on your tea, especially if you're using aromatic herbs like these three, because those aromatic chemicals that are in the herbs are actually the medicinal part, or one of the medicinal parts. And so if they kind of volatilize and get out into your room, it smells good, but that also means it's not in your cup.
Yeah,
Right.
So
makes
put a
sense.
lid on your tea. The other tool that I really like for making tea is loose leaf tea is this guy. This is a bombilla. So this is made for drinking mate from a mate gourd. And what it is it's just a straw with a little strainer on the end. And it means that you can make tea in a jar like this with no strainer. And then you can just drink it right out of the jar using
that's
your straw.
awesome.
Cool.
You don't have to do any straining. So that's one of my favorite tools as well, just because it makes it so easy. You don't have to mess around.
especially
with
if you're on the go,
strainers.
too.
Exactly. Exactly.
I totally get it.
I have an almost 2-year-old at home,
Yeah.
so I'm always short on time.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for ways to kind of make the tea process a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So how long does it take? Like, how long should somebody wait before they should be able to drink their tea?
Yeah, so it depends on the herbs that you're using. So like leaves and flowers and things like these 3 herbs that I brought today, like 10 to 15 minutes is a good like rule of thumb for most leafy teas like that. The other sort of tea that we make as herbalists is called a decoction, and what that is usually it's roots and berries and kind of tougher plant parts,
Okay.
and they require a little bit more time and heat to extract well, and so we're going to simmer them on the stove. Again, usually for at least 15 minutes, but sometimes even like an hour or 2 to really kind of extract all of those medicinal compounds.
Well,
Yeah.
This is perfect. I'm so excited. I really want to taste this tea, but we have to take another commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to be highlighting natural bug spray that
Just in
Hannah
time.
makes and the ingredients she uses. So stay with us, everybody.